finally breaks its silence on that mysterious barge in the bay. Good evening, I'm Ken Bastida.
And I'm Elizabeth Cook. Google still won't say a word about its secret project out on the bay, but Alan Martin found out more about the barges themselves, who owns them, and their ties to a mysterious tenant on Treasure Island.
Yeah, the mystery gets deeper and deeper, guys. Government officials, federal agencies, techies alike, all waiting for answers as to what Google is up to in San Francisco and Portland, Maine. Today, we finally received a comment from the U.S. Coast Guard. Sort of. We have found at least 3 barges, 2 with container structures on them, all marked with the letters BAL followed by 4 numbers. The 2 barges at Treasure Island are numbered 0010 and 0001. The barge in Portland, Maine is marked BAL 0011. A document provided to KPIX5 by the Treasure Island Development Authority confirms that one of the 4 tenants currently leasing space in the building called Hangar 3, which sits directly across from the barges, is called By and Large, or BAL. It moved in August 1st of this year, but so far the authority has not provided KPIX with a copy of the lease to show how much By and Large pays and how long it plans to stay. Adding to the intrigue, take a look at the sign we found posted inside Hangar 3, telling anyone who's even allowed in to turn over their cell phone or any other recording device. Well-placed sources tell KPIX5 the barges are being built and outfitted as retail sales and marketing centers for Google Glass, the company's wearable computer. Google is so far not responding at all to numerous requests for comment on the project. Other than the list of lessees, the Treasure Island Development Authority apparently isn't even talking to the mayor of San Francisco. He seems content to be in the dark.
I was trying to see what the Treasure Island people were saying. He says, no, they haven't told them as well.
The regulatory agency called Bay Conservation and Development Commission would need to approve docking the vessel, but building on the barge is subject to Coast Guard review.
The permitting process for building is not handled by BCDC, and the Coast Guard has to provide a certificate for the vessel.
The Coast Guard is not being very forthcoming either. Today it issued a statement only confirming it is working with the barge's owners, but gave 0 details, citing, "Due to issues of commercial confidentiality, we are unable to disclose any more information at this time." Meanwhile, the Reuters wire service is reporting at least 1 Coast Guard employee signed a confidentiality agreement with Google. And a Coast Guard spokesperson would only add that this is an unusual situation that they don't typically deal with.
Alan, it's an amazing story. I have a source that told me this afternoon this is not a Defense Department project. This is not a national security project. This is a Google project. How is it that the U.S. Coast Guard cannot give us information about this?
It seems to be unprecedented. We cannot really find a case where they're not forthcoming with information. We're pressing ahead. Freedom of information requests will probably be filed. But no, you're right. This is not apparently national security. So they should be able to tell us exactly what's been applied for, what's going on.
So are there 3 barges registered to the same company?
There are 3. We actually uncovered a 4th. We have the documentation for a 4th one. It's identified as BAL 0100. But as far as we know, only 2 of those 4 are under construction and listed as passenger barges. The one in Portland, Maine, by the way, might be a little farther along. You can clearly see several windows in each of the containers here, not quite so many windows. So they're at different stages, but they're close. They're almost identical.
All right. The world waits.
It
And
does.
we'll have more tomorrow.
Google secrets.
All right, Alan, thank you.
Hello, this is another edition of Radio Bravery, a local Portland, Oregon podcast run by yours truly, Justin Bellshaw. And today is Friday, November 1st. This is mine and my girlfriend's 1-year anniversary, so that explains why I'm dressed so nicely so early. But today we've got a few special reports for the broadcast. First off, that was the Avett Brothers with Talk on Indolence bringing us in. And then at the end of the broadcast, we're going to have Bright Eyes with Jejune Stars taking us out. But in the beginning of the broadcast, before this intro here, you will see a couple special reports. One of them is a follow-up report, which is from a local news organization in San Francisco, which is following up on the Google barges and how they've been popping up in San Francisco Bay and in Portland, Maine. And they're still very mysterious as to what they're actually building on these barges. For Google. Then the next special report will be by David Knight at Infowars.com, and it covers the ammunition buyout that is going on right now to try and create a market scarcity for ammunition. Then at the end of the broadcast, we'll just have a little quick video where I give my 2 cents about Eddie Vedder stopping in the middle of a show to promote gun control and promote the First Amendment, but not the Second Amendment, and basically go on to say that people who support the Second Amendment don't support the First Amendment. Absolutely ridiculous, and we'll get into that at the very end. First off, I want to start off with an article that is from Infowars.com, and this is a article that just came out after the or right before the Sheriff Nick Finch from Florida was just found not guilty. You may remember a few months ago, this was the sheriff that was arrested by his own men for releasing a man who was put in his jail unconstitutionally for carrying a pistol. Basically, the article is entitled "Pro-Gun Sheriff Found Not Guilty." It was really basically a closed book, open-closed case. Nick Finch, the Florida sheriff arrested in June after he defended the Second Amendment, has been declared not guilty by the state of Florida. The Liberty County Sheriff was charged with felony official misconduct and falsifying public records after he removed the arrest file of a suspect held on an unconstitutional gun charge but later released on his orders. After closing arguments by prosecutors and the defense, the jury took less than 90 minutes to deliberate and reach its verdict. Finch said today on the Alex Jones show that the judge and the prosecutors were not surprised over his acquittal. They knew that they had no case. Finch is expected to return soon to his duties as sheriff. During the trial, the sheriff testified that he released Floyd Eugene Parrish, who was arrested for unlawfully carrying a firearm because he believed the Second Amendment trumped all state gun laws. And this is true. You cannot trump the Constitution. I don't care what state, city, ordinance, whatever is, the Constitution is law. It is bottom line. As InfoWars reported back in June, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement accused Finch of covering up the arrest of Floyd Eugene Parrish after releasing him from the Liberty County Jail. On March 8th, Sergeant James Joseph Hoagland of the Liberty County Sheriff's Office arrested Parrish during a traffic stop after finding a .25 automatic pistol in Parrish's right front pocket and a holstered revolver in his car. Parrish was taken to jail. Finch took the arrest file and told jailers that Parrish would be released with no charges. And that is a man right there. That is a picture of a man standing up for our constitutional rights, and we need to defend him, because if we don't, we are all going to have our constitutional rights infringed upon. So, awesome job, Nick Finch. We salute you. You are doing a great job upholding the Constitution and defending our republic. Awesome. That is a great story right there. Moving on. Israeli planes strike Syrian military base, U.S. official confirms to the media. This is not a good sign. We know that Iran, Russia, China are all allies to Syria, and this is not a good move, but it's really not surprising, is it? An Obama administration official told the Associated Press that the attack happened overnight on Thursday, but provided no details. Another security official told the news agency that it took place in the Syrian port city of Latakia, and that the targets were Russian-made SA-125 missiles. Another U.S. official told CNN that the Israelis believed the base near Snowbar Jebla, south of Latakia, had sensitive and sophisticated missile equipment that may have been transferred to the Lebanese Shiite militant group Hezbollah. Earlier, Dubai-based broadcaster Al Arabiya reported 2 attacks carried out by the Israeli Air Forces, one in Latakia and the other one in Damascus. Neither the Syrian nor Israeli governments have commented on such attacks. So that's about the basis of the information we have so far, other than speculation. But we will keep covering this as it unfolds. Keep an eye on that. Next up, House reduces workdays on 2014 calendar after working so hard in 2013. This is from the Huffington Post. Who banks a $174,000 annual salary and works less than a third of the year? Members of the House of Representatives. Yeah, that is just great. The 2014 calendar for the House was released Thursday by House Majority Leader Eric Cantor, and shows members will only work 113 days. That's down from 2013, when House lawmakers were scheduled to meet for 126 days. Only 107 days were scheduled in 2012. So this is 113 days. 113 out of 364. Less than a third of the year, and these guys are getting $174,000. These are who we elect. Come on, man. That's why I love Ron Paul. That's why I absolutely support Ron Paul, because Ron Paul doesn't go off the job. He works 24/7. Right now he's busy working on a homeschool curriculum, starting a TV channel. That guy is busy, busy, busy. Always will be, always has been. That's what a true congressman is like. 113 days, that's an absolute joke. So on Huffington Post right there if you want to check out more into that. Next up, this is from goldseed.com. This is just a small headline. There's not a lot of coverage on this right now, but it's entitled, China Retaliates Against U.S. Naval Presence with Ships in Hawaiian Waters. China appears to feel that its naval buildup has progressed sufficiently to allow it to retaliate against the U.S. naval presence in the East China Sea by sending surveillance ships to Hawaiian waters. The People's Liberation Army Navy plan electronic reconnaissance ship spotted in Hawaiian waters is most likely of about 4,000 ton displacement and is equipped with various electronic gear for eavesdropping on radio communications and tracking ships and aircraft. It is also believed to have jamming equipment to interfere with radio communications of other ships. The ship apparently sailed inside the U.S. 200 nautical mile EEZ exclusive economic zone, though there is no indication it violated the U.S. 12 nautical mile, 13.8 mile territorial waters defined by the 1982 UN Convention of the Law of the Sea. The U.S. has been sending recon ships and planes inside China's EEZ for decades, but this is the first time that China has acknowledged sending a surveillance ship into the U.S. EEZ. So this is definitely very interesting. It shows that China is paying attention to our constant nagging and poking at them, and they are not going to stand for it forever. We are not invincible. We are not untouchable. We are not... We are not any better than anyone else. We are all equal. We are all equal. And we are not exemplary. We are not better. We are not greater. We are equal. It is not... That is what Vladimir Putin was trying to tell us, is that don't be pompous. Don't be a pompous little punk and think that you're great and better than anyone. We are equal. We're just the same as any other country. And the more we create diversity and put ourselves up on a pedestal, the more we allow it to be okay and shrug it off when we invade another country and we ruin them and we ruin their infrastructure. We go and bomb innocent civilians and take people out of power. If they want to vote someone in power that we don't agree with, let them vote someone in power we don't agree with. It is not our place. It is definitely not our place, and is going to become the death of us as a country, as a republic, as a democracy, whatever you want to call us. We can't keep invading and stepping foot on other people's business. So, this is just a sure sign of what's to come. Next up, naturalnews.com article by Mike Adams himself, the health ranger. MSNBC host says newborn infants don't count as alive unless parents decide they do. Infanticide is the new abortion. Today, Natural News denounces Melissa Harris Perry, the latest talking head death worshipper, to publicly imply that she supports the murder of living, breathing newborn children. According to Harris Perry, life begins when the parents feel like life begins. That makes complete sense. So if I decided a 4-year-old just doesn't exist, they're lifeless, we can just murder them, right? That sounds like it falls under the same category, in my opinion. So yeah, we might as well just start murdering anybody we don't think is alive. And anybody who says they're not alive, whether they are or not, then we might as well just murder them. Yeah, lovely. Very loving. Thanks, MSNBC. No, that is not the case, and this is absolutely absurd. Let's see. And together with some twisted new ethics argument from the radical left, this can include months or years after a child is born. That's why I need to premise this article with a disclaimer. This article is not about abortion. It's about the murder of children after they are born. This article is about the murder of children after they are born. Because once a child is born alive, terminating that life is no longer a choice. It's murder by every legal and moral standard. Because while abortion friends and foes can argue that when life begins in the womb, no one disagrees that a child born alive, do they? Indeed, MSNBC talking head Melissa Harris Perry, the devil's cousin, insists that that life only begins when the parents have a feeling that it begins. When does life begin? I submit the answer depends an awful lot on the feeling of the parents, a powerful feeling, but not science, Harris Perry said to a nationwide astonishment on her July 21st MSNBC show. And in one stroke, she simultaneously condones the murder of newborn infants. Goes on to say, there's a lot more about this article. It's not something we need to go too much into, but just go to naturalnews.com, check out this article yourself a little more. Has such extra sections and headlines as newborn babies have no moral right to life. Melissa Harris Perry is a modern-day Holocaust denier, and it has links to cafemom.com, campusreform.org, and many other sources as well, including MSNBC. So check out that article by Mike Adams. I definitely support everything that man is doing right now. One of my heroes. Moving along, this is another Mike Adams article. Shocker. The health ranger himself, Natural News editor. Naked Juice class action settlement announced. Here's how to claim $45 from PepsiCo even without proof of purchase. The Naked Juice Company was sued in 2011, accused of using GMO ingredients and deceptively labeling its products as all natural. The Organic Consumers Association explains, according to plaintiffs, Naked Juice used soy ingredients that are genetically engineered by design or by contamination. Naked Juice doesn't use certified organic or verified non-GMO soy. Naked Juice intentionally used misleading language to give customers the false impression that the beverage's vitamin content is due to nutritious fruits and juices rather than added synthetic compounds, and the PepsiCo subsidiary contained a laundry list of synthetic chemicals including calcium pantothenate, synthetically produced from formaldehyde. Oh, that's just great. We definitely need that in our all-natural drinks. PepsiCo, of course, is the owner of Naked Juice and also the same company that bankrolled the defeat of Prop 37 in California, the Right to Know GMO labeling campaign. Starting today, you may now be eligible to receive up to $45 directly from PepsiCo. Any person who claims to have purchased Naked Juice, even if they have no proof of such a purchase, can now participate in the class action claims and receive up to a $45 check as part of the settlement. Share this story with others to spread this news so that many people as possible can legitimately claim their portion of this settlement. This is just a great way to take a jab at PepsiCo. Screw those guys, and they deserve another extra $45 taken from them, as they are using aborted fetal tissue in their flavor enhancement programs as well. So that company deserves to be absolutely shut down, so let's help by doing it by taking some of this class action lawsuit for yourself that you deserve. I realize $45 isn't a lot of money, especially if you've probably spent far more than that on Naked Juice since 2007, the time window covered by this class action lawsuit. Nevertheless, if enough people participate in the class action claim, it will not only cost PepsiCo $9 million in payouts, it will also send a powerful message that consumers are fed up with being deceived about the products they purchase. So yes, do this to help send a message that you are fed up of being deceived, and we must all get together and do this so that we can send a message that this is unacceptable. If this happens again, you're going to pay even more. This is what we need to tell them. So Natural News is officially requesting that all readers who purchase Naked Juice in the last 6 years file a settlement claim and get your check of up to $45 from PepsiCo. You can file your claim at the website nakedjuiceclass.com. That's nakedjuiceclass.com. The direct link to the claim is nakedjuiceclass.com//file claim/UNK. So you can go to that link as well. But just go to nakedjuiceclass.com and get your $45 and help stick it to the douchebag man. To file a claim, you will have to give this website your name and address. I cannot guarantee your privacy if you participate in this process, as we do not control the settlement website. Presumably, your name will be protected by the courts on this, but you never know. The deadline for submitting your claims is December 17, 2013. So do this soon and share this story with as many people as you can. Naturalnews.com. The headline is entitled Naked Juice Class Action Settlement Announced. So go there to nakedjuiceclass.com and get your $45 and send a message to PepsiCo that they are done. Last up on the list is a third Mike Adams Health Ranger article, and this is entitled Ted Aligns with Monsanto, Halting Any Talks About GMOs, Food as Medicine, or Natural Healing. I grew up kind of getting into politics with watching TED Talks. I thought that a lot of them were really awesome until I started finding out that you have to actually pay them to give a TED Talk, and that they actually have many guidelines of things that you are not allowed to talk about. So I'm now against TED altogether, especially since Bill Gates came out on TED Talks and said that we need vaccines to help reduce the population. You can look up that on YouTube, just search Bill Gates vaccines reduce population. Let's see. Goes on here to say, because the group that organizes so-called TED Talks has been thoroughly hijacked by corporate junk science and now openly rejects any talks about GMOs, food as medicine, or even the subject of how food can prevent behavioral disorders in children. All these areas of discussion are now red flagged from being presented on any TED stage. And these are some of the most important subjects in the world right now. It is so saddening that these people want to do this and are taking their letting their puppet strings be pulled and be told what they can and cannot do. Man up, grow up, be a patriot. It's so much more fulfilling. Stand up for what's right and true. In a letter openly admitted by TEDx itself in a little well-known letter, TED says that people who talk about GMOs are engaged in pseudoscience. Those who discuss the healing potential of foods are spreading health hoaxes. The letter also advises TEDx organizers to reject bad science, pseudoscience, and health hoaxes, meaning anyone who talks about GMOs, food as medicine, or similar topics. TED falls in line with Monsanto. No talks that question GMOs will be allowed. It's a sure sign that you've jumped into a circle of dogma when the very fact of asking intelligent questions is no longer allowed. Any speakers who might ask questions about genetically engineered foods are strictly forbidden by TED. It goes on to say here, TED's letter filled with false information. The TEDx letter attacking pseudoscience itself filled with factually false information. The letter says Andrew Wakefield's attempt to link autism and vaccines was exposed as a hoax last year, which is an absolute lie. Andrew Wakefield is very highly respected, especially with this link that he has been able to prove. That statement is blatantly false. For starters, Dr. Wakefield never conducted any studies whatsoever that linked autism to vaccines. That is complete fabrication, delusion invented by the intellectually dishonest critics of Dr. Wakefield. TEDx obviously believes that if a lie is repeated often enough among critics of real science, that lie became a truth. Secondly, the actual hoax is on the medical journals and critics of Dr. Wakefield who were caught deliberately lying about his research and inventing wildly false claims in order to try to discredit him. They are currently being sued over their false allegations, by the way. And as the facts of this lawsuit have come out, Dr. Wakefield will be completely vindicated. For the real evidence that TED doesn't want you to see on Dr. Wakefield, check out these articles, including BMJ admits that fraud claim against Dr. Andrew Wakefield has no basis in fact. Documents emerged proving Dr. Wakefield innocent. BMJ and Brian Deere caught misrepresenting the facts. Dr. Wakefield demands a retraction from BMJ after documents prove innocence from allegations of vaccine autism data fraud. Other areas of investigation banned by TED. It turns out TED isn't only a proponent of GMOs, vaccines, and whatever corporate-sponsored status quo science is currently being sprouted. It's also wholly aligned against the wide range of topics it considers pseudoscience. These so-called pseudoscience topics include consciousness, free will, and non-material mind. The fusion of science and spirituality, as if higher spiritual awareness is somehow not a valid pathway for the discovery of truth. Nearly all neuroscience. The placebo effect. something that has been experimentally proven to exist through tens of thousands of clinical trials. Any and all healing, including Reiki, Reiki, or hands-on healing, healing touch, etc. According to Ted, these are all pure hokum and bunk. There is no placebo effect, they insist, even though it has been experimentally proven to be the strongest across-the-board form of medicine available today. TED is basically a cult of scientism, and you can see more information about that on naturalnews.com. Now we are going to end this November 1st broadcast with a clip from Eddie Vedder's most recent concert, where he talks down about the Second Amendment, and people who support the Second Amendment don't support the First. Just total nonsense like that, and you'll get a little bit of my 2 cents on that, and you can hear it for yourself and decide if you support this guy and his message or not. But I don't, and I support gun rights because I think that history has shown time and time again that places like Chicago that disarm their citizens become absolute hellholes of violence and crime. And I just had a friend who went there for a wedding to Chicago, and he told me in his short stay there he heard gunshots at least 10 different times. It's common over there, and it's scary and violent, and country that arms itself, protects itself. History has always shown that. So let's not become a socialist state. Let's stay the republic we are, and let's get our freedom back. Find a little bravery. Find a way to speak out and spread truth. Be a little more like Julian Assange. Check out that documentary, We Steal Secrets. That's a good one I just checked out. But yeah, this is end of our Friday broadcast. I'll see you guys next week. I'm Justin Bellshaw signing off. You guys have a great day.
Every new day is a gift, it's a song of redemption. Any expression of love is a way to return to that place that I think of so often, but I never mention. The one voice in the back of my head says that I don't deserve. Come fire, come water, come karma, we're all in transition. The wheel of becoming erases the physical mind.
Gun control, more and more, is turning into a war on ammunition, leaving no doubt this is about total disarmament. Gun control groups are pushing for background and registration of ammunition, and not just guns. Another new front in the war on ammunition is environmental regulation. California just banned lead bullets for hunting, citing environmental protection. The Center for Biological Diversity has lobbied the EPA, unsuccessfully so far, to regulate ammunition as part of the Toxic Substances Control Act. But now the only ore-to-lead producer in America, the largest in the Western world, has been shut down by EPA regulation. For over 20 years, the company had been researching a wet chemical process and investing $30 million to replace smelting. The new process would have eliminated 99% of all current land, air, and water pollution releases, but EPA's regulatory uncertainty and estimated expense of $100 million to convert caused the company to finally throw in the towel. It's not just ammunition that's disappearing. American industry, American jobs are being regulated out of existence as well. Now, lead's still going to be manufactured in China, but it'll be done without any environmental oversight. It'll be scarce, it'll be expensive, we'll have fragile supply lines. There's more to the shutdown of Doe Run than just shutting down American industry and exporting jobs. It's part of a multi-pronged attack on ammunition. Drying up the market by hoarding all ammunition. Shutting down the market with background checks, registration, and banning of online sales. Using environmental regulation to ban the use and manufacture of lead. And after we can no longer manufacture ammunition domestically, we have the UN Arms Trade Treaty to stop the importation of ammunition. Some have openly admitted that total gun confiscation is the goal.
That there is no gun ban currently, but because of the work that we're doing here today, we will make your side legitimate shortly. So you hang on to that.
But if you look at the multiple ways they're trying to remove all ammunition, not just certain guns they believe are dangerous, there's no question that this is about all-out gun control. For InfoWars Nightly News, I'm David Knight.
A very powerful moment to have this chance to communicate to somebody that we have been thinking about so deeply. And to know that it's okay, in fact not just okay, but it's necessary that we continue a discussion to figure out how to unravel a situation where something like that can happen and make sure the odds of it happening again are very slim. And you know as well as I, you have to be very careful when talking about something like this because they want to defame your character or take away your right to speak. I mean, while they're protecting the Second Amendment, they also don't think that you have the right to speak as an American, as a taxpayer, as a father, as a parent. We've got a right to speak on this issue when the safety of our children is directly affected. And you will take some hits if you put it out there, but that's the thing. I just want to clarify that we've done some research and I've talked to some very much smarter people than myself. There's a lot of them. But the myth that the gun lobby is the most powerful lobby in our country is a myth. That's a myth. The money is not the most money. The amount of people, it's just in the millions. It's a myth, but it's just because they're louder. They're louder and they're very tenacious. And if you speak up against them, they will jump on you and tear you apart and make it so nobody else wants to say anything. Or they want them to be fearful that, we're talking about...
As much as I enjoy you pulling on the heartstrings of Americans left and right, Eddie Vedder, taking the Second Amendment away in response to any mass shooting is not the answer. And I can't name one person off the top of my head who has advocated for the First Amendment going in order to save the Second Amendment. You can say whatever you would like, but the statistics show that a country that arms itself protects itself. And you are incorrect, sir.